Alright, hello there everyone. This is Elk here speaking about one of my favorite games that I've played here on RA and helping put together a plan for mastering this set. This game, of course, is the wonderful ROM hack Pokemon Kalos Crystal, a ROM hack that reimagines the Kanto and Johto regions using only the Mons introduced in Unova and Kalos, basically as though those had been the first two generations. So all of the NPCs that you interact with are largely going to be the same as in Original Crystal, but every Mon in the game has been replaced with Mons from uh, Unova and Kalos. Every single Mon in the entire dex is available in a single playthrough. There's no trade evolutions. You get the other starters later. Basically, you'll have a lot of freedom and flexibility to explore this game the way that you see fit and get the chance to truly catch them all. One of the reasons this is such a fun game. The other reason this is such a fun game is the nature of the set. So basically, every major boss battle in the set has a couple specific achievements. So the first specific achievement in each boss battle is going to be to clear out the gym trainers without leaving the gym. So you have to beat all gym trainers except the gym leader within the same trip into the gym. Then you can go heal your party, get set to your final party for facing the leader, and come back. And you'll have a cap that will look like this. So you'll have a level cap, set mode, no items, only dark type mons, no duplicates, and the same number of mons that the leader has. And basically, if you have a dark type team that you can clear every major battle with, you're going to be well set to get through the major achievements in this game. There's also a full Pokedex, Chivo, and all items Chivo, a handful of other achievements along the way, but these are the main achievements that are going to define your progress through the set. Now, the reason I highlight the Janine achievement in particular is that this is a level 39 cap achievement that comes into play after you've already beaten the level 50 cap achievement. So, if you want to minimize your backtracking in this game, one of the most important things you can do is have some dark types that are ready and saved at a lower level than the point at which you get to Lance, that are ready to help you handle the Kanto gyms. Because all 8 Kanto gyms, of course, come after Lance, and of those, like 6, I believe, have level caps lower than 50, but Janine is the lowest. That level 39 is going to be the most important level. Basically, you're going to want to hold a certain critical mon at about level 37 or 38, specifically for the Janine battle. There is a mon that can basically solo this battle, and we'll be talking about that in a minute. So this is again our general pattern of the achievements, using Violet Gym as an example. So beat all the normal trainers without leaving the gym. Then there's an achievement for beating the leader, one that's a little bit more restrictive, beating the leader with a party size cap, a level cap, set mode, no items in battle. And then finally our main challenge achievement, which adds dark type to the party size and other restrictions. So we want a team that we can use with minimal backtracking. And this group of 9 mons will let us A, keep every relevant HM in our party at the same time. B, clear all of the dark type achievements. C, give us pretty decent type diversity for clearing most of the regular battles. Basically, if you train up these 9 mons, you can clear every major battle in the game. So we want to think about this as a 3-3-3 split. There are 3 mons that are going to be the core of your team throughout the entire game. Basically, these 3 mons are 3 of the most important mons, both for the end game of the Johto region and throughout the end game of the Kanto region. Then there are 3 mons that you'll make heavy use of during the Johto portion of the game, but will fall off, become irrelevant once you're in Kanto. Therefore, it's completely fine to have trained these mons up all the way to level upper 40s as soon as you're through the Claire battle. Get ready for the Elite Four. Rely on these when you can. And then on the flip side, we have 3 mons that are going to get the primary portion of their use in Kanto. So ideally, You'd like to keep these on the lower end level-wise as you're going through the game so that you have room to pivot into them for certain endgame Kanto fights. Now, up to about level 30, you can freely rotate them as you get access to them in and out of your party, and basically slowly start training them up. Once we get into the 30s, there are some that we're going to want to start using less, either because their usefulness will fall off or because we're trying to save them. Specifically, the one mon that we really, really need to save is Malamar. And so I went ahead and said the three mons that we're trying to save and make the bulk of our use of in Kanto are going to be Malamar, Hydreigon, and Bisharp. In part because Bisharp is such a monster in the late game, but doesn't really become threatening until the level 40-ish range, and so isn't something we need to make a ton of use of throughout Johto. Hydreigon is obviously very much an endgame mon, and Malamar has access to Hypnosis, which we'll talk about just how important that is later in the video. The three mons you'll use throughout the game are, of course, Crocodile, Mandibuzz, and Greninja. Greninja is interesting because it does not count as a dark type until about level 30 something, but you can get it as your starter. I believe it evolves at 36, and you'll have access to slowly begin using it, preparing it along the way for a lot of the regular battles. And then once it evolves to become a dark type, it'll be one of the most important members of your team. And then we also have the Pangoro, Liepard, and Zoroark, who are definitely very useful, especially in the early game. Will tend to fall off a bit, especially like as we're talking about towards the end of the Johto region, even into the Elite Four, though I recommend keeping them around through the Elite Four. Pangoro makes a nice counter to Karen. Zoroark can put in some solid work. They're not terrible, though you'll definitely have better options. Now, the HMs on your team can be filled by this group of mons. We have Bisharp can use Cut, Mandibuzz can use Fly, Greninja can use Surf and Waterfall, Crocodile can use Strength, and Malamar can even get Flash, without really crippling their primary usefulness for your moveset. So you'll have full mobility throughout Kanto, and even in Johto, you'll have pretty decent mobility because most of your core encounters you can get early in the game. The most important mon in the game, as we talked about before, is going to be Malamar. The reason for this is because Malamar's Hypnosis makes clearing Kanto infinitely easier. You can encounter it using Surf near the Whirl Islands. It gets Hypnosis at level 18. Keep this move, hold on to it for all it's worth, because this is going to be your best option for going sometimes 1v5 or 2v5 in some of the early Kanto gyms with the lower level caps when you don't have a ton of options that can go into the battle. Having Hypnosis available gives you the chance to, if nothing else, reset for the win and sometimes even just take clean wins on your first try. You get a very solid move set with Psybeam at 21, upgrading to Psychic at 46. You have a Feint attack that upgrades to Night Slash. You also have access to Reflect if you're not using it for Flash or Flash, neither of which is going to be especially important in terms of combat. Hypnosis is also going to be your best friend when it comes to catching the various legendary encounters scattered throughout the region, including some new overworld encounters on various routes that were added in for the sake of making the entire dex available. The locations for our core 9, aside from Malamar, Froakie is of course available as your starter. Volibee can be caught at night south of Dark Cave. Make sure you have your clock settings such that you can get it as a nighttime encounter on that route just below Dark Cave. Purloin is available on Route 29. Zorua is available through the egg that you get from Professor Elm. So as early as the second badge, you have access to like 6 of these mons, including the Sandile available at Union Cave. Sorry, 5 of these mons, including the Sandile available at Union Cave. Though of course Froakie can't be used until the mid 30s. For the actual gym battles. It will still be very useful for getting through a lot of the main overworld trainers, wild encounters, things like that. You'll get access to Pancham right next to the daycare as you're approaching Goldenrod City. Pawniard's available in Mount Mortar, And then Dano, the last of our 9 core mons, is not going to be available until Victory Road, but again, that's one of our Kanto-focused mons, so we won't need it for a while. Now, our plans for tackling these gyms. Falconer, we really only have 2 available options, Vullaby and Purloin, but Vullaby has a very solid moveset early in the game and is surprisingly bulky. You might need a reset or two here, but it shouldn't be too difficult. Vullaby really is just incredibly strong. For Bugsy, Vullaby again is extremely useful. You'll also have access to the Purloin and the Zoro at this point. Bugsy can be one of the harder fights just on the basis of the type chart, but it's definitely a manageable fight that you'll be able to get through. Whitney, you're going to potentially want a little bit of accuracy reduction, which you can get through Sandile's Mudslat. Vullaby and Purloin are just going to be very solid options for this stage of the game as well. You'll get your Liepard evolution right around this range as well. You'll get to what would be the Sudowoodo in Original Crystal, but which is actually a Sylveon, which has been separated from the Eevee line and is treated as a single form Mon in place of the Sudowoodo. Get to Morty. Morty's just free. We're Dark type. Morty is free. Chuck can be handled by a combination of Vullaby and Malamar. You're going to want your access to Psybeam there, Hypnosis. You've got a lot of very solid options. Price, as in literally every appearance, is just basically a free win. Jasmine, you will probably want to focus on Pangoro and maybe your Sandile line as well. You do have some pretty solid type advantage there. And by the time you get to Claire, you're basically ready to start prepping for your E4 Gauntlet. Now, in the end game, after you get to, after you get all 16 badges in this game, you do get a round 2 Elite Four battle. The round 2 Elite Four battles range from roughly level 60 to level 70, and the round 2 Elite Four is the most efficient source of experience in the game, even more efficient than Mount Silver Wild Training or Rebattling Red or anything like that. So, in the end of the game, when you're trying to grind for as many evolutions as possible, this is basically the way it goes. You bring in Bisharp, lead against Will. Once you get to a certain point, you'll be able to just 5x Ironhead, get 5 straight knockouts. Go to Koga, Mandibuzz sets up one Sword Stance, Air Slashes the team, Burnout, rinse and repeat. Karen comes up, Crocodile just earthquakes the whole team. Lance's first 4 members go down to an earthquake, use an outrage on Noivern, who will be the 5th member, and that will take out both the 5th and 6th member of the team, which is actually using only 1 PP of it. You leave Greninja in the party for a Surf HM so that as soon as you get back to New Bark Town, you just surf directly a few steps into Kanto, and then it can immediately use Mandibuzz's Fly to take you directly back to Indigo Plateau, rinse and repeat as many times as necessary to get your Evolution Pokedex entries. And this actually leaves you 2 slots available to stick XP shares on, since this only requires 4 members for the grinding strategy. And so using those 4 members of your team plus 2 open slots, you can rotate the XP share between members of the Elite Four. You can honestly just put a ton of experience onto 1 or 2 months at a time, get a ton of progress through your experience share. I'm not the dev of this set, nor was I the creator of the hack, but I am the Elk Speaks on Discord. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts about this set and the game. As I said before, it's been one of my favorite experiences playing on Array, and just a genuinely fun Pokemon hack. So thank you very much to FTDO for the set, and to Azure Keys, the developer of the hack, for making such a wonderful game for us all to enjoy. And until next time, this has been Elk speaking here, talking about a wonderful game on RA, Pokemon Kalos Crystal. See you next time.